SnuzeTube. What's up, guys? You're watching Speed Paint on SnuzeTube. Or should I say SnuzeTube? Anyways. So basically, I'm just gonna be rough drafting, sort of planning out my ideas. That's what you're seeing right now. But while that's going on in the background, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's clicked on this, or however you got here. I appreciate it, and if you subscribe or like, I really appreciate that as well. So basically, you may notice that my cursor is moving a lot, but I don't actually, draw anything. You'll see, yeah, you see it moving all around. That's basically because I'm trying to think about what I want to draw before I actually, touch anything to the paper. I thought maybe some tentacles on this dude would work, but I don't know. I really like the head that I drew here, the top half. I just couldn't really figure out the bottom half, so I was just trying out, various different things, and that's one thing that you got to be comfortable with when you're doing art, is just like erasing and then just trying something completely different, because it also helps out your creativity. You're gonna build up a visual library from trying to draw so many different things, that you're just gonna get better over time. I've been drawing since I was a child, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think here we finally decided on a face that I would use. I felt like this one was good enough. So then we're just gonna start painting, and color picking is obviously important, but I don't know much about colors, so I'm not gonna pretend that I do. But anyways, I've been painting, not painting, but I've been drawing for, as long as I can remember. I've only been painting for maybe, digitally painting for probably almost 2 years. I wouldn't say 2 years fully. Here I'm using the selection tool. You can see the lines around the character, or the head, whatever you want to call it. Basically, that's just gonna keep all your paint inside those lines, and it's very useful. It's very time consuming. Obviously, you can't tell here because this is all of what you're about to see took 5 hours, but we've managed to break it down into 8 minutes. So, what was I saying? I can't even remember. I gave him some scary eyes there. Did you see that? That was pretty creepy. I guess I figured I should get rid of that. So you notice the mouth there. Anytime I do mouths, I always feel like they should be as small as possible, as minute as possible. Maybe the edges spread open a bit more, and you see the shape with the nose. That's something I've been learning recently, is knowing when to make hard edges, and also knowing when to give up and start over, because as you can see, I just decided that we're just gonna go ahead and do something different. I didn't really like how I didn't like where it was going. And like I'm telling you guys, you can't be afraid to give up and start over. That's just how it is. And that's how it's always gonna be. And if you were paying attention, you may notice that this looks similar to the first rough draft I did, and that's because I don't know why, it just stuck with me. I liked the idea. Okay, so the idea of this was, think about candle lights, back in medieval times. But now think of what would the futuristic version of that be? And I know some idiot out there is oh, light switches. I'm like, no. So I'm thinking this is a little robot head that floats around, and he has a light coming out of the this top of his head, this pillar from his dome. It's just generating light, and it follows you around wherever you need the light. And this is just my idea of a futuristic candle light, I guess. Anyways, so here I am doing the selecting tool, or is that what they call it? Selection tool. Once again, very useful, but here I am trying to pick out colors, so it's very cathartic. All of this, if you draw or paint or anything, you know that it can be cathartic. And a lot of the times it doesn't feel cathartic. It's when, you don't have that inspiration, you're not really feeling it. And so you look at your art and you're just it looks bad. kind of like how I just did a minute ago, where I just gave up on the whole thing and I just gave it the scrap. But it's important to do that because sometimes, like, I know me personally, I'll spend so much time working on something, and just for, in the end, me to feel like it isn't what I imagined. So never be afraid to just stop and do something else, because I guarantee you that you learned something from whatever it was that you did. And I drew a bunch of like random shading lines, like colors. Like you see the darker colors I used here, and it actually created some shapes that I enjoyed. So I decided to keep them in the finished product, which you'll see like those jagged lines there in the middle of the pillar on his head. And this is the distortion tool, very useful. I'll use it more later, so you'll see. And you see that jagged line I just decided to keep in because I don't know, I thought it kind of looked like a PlayStation 5 to me. So I was like, okay, that looks kind of cool. We'll go ahead and keep that little edge in. So, and here I am using the selection tool at the top just to make it more straight and all that. But like I'm telling you guys, I've been drawing for a very long time. So some people who look at this and they're like, oh, I could never do that. Just know there's people who are looking at this and they're thinking, this is so bad, and there's such better ways to do all of this. So this, like I said, this is our first speed paint here on SnuzeTube, and if you're here, I appreciate it. If you're wondering how I make these straight lines like that right there, you just hold shift. Generally, for most programs, you hold shift and it'll just do a straight line. And here I am with that distortion tool, just shaping things up. And I think pretty soon here I'm gonna start adding like some glowing effect. Oh, okay, just some shouts out to my other works. Shouts out to Danny. That was just, he popped up on the screen there for a second. I think here I'm just trying to cut out like his helmet, like where his helmet meets his head. You know, looking back on this, I still think it looks bad. So, there's definitely lots of room for improvement still. And if you guys enjoy the speed paint, you know, let me know, and you know, we could do more here on SnuzeTube. But other than that, I think from here it's just a lot of like, you know, making it more real. So you're gonna see me adding some tones to the face. Obviously the eyes and the mouth thing I'm doing right here isn't really nothing important, but I wanted to make the light on his head actually look like it was glowing. So I did my best, like using an airbrush to really try and sell that effect, which I think I got it, but I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that looks like it's glowing. But I'll start adding in some lighting and try to, yeah, the background was definitely too bright, so I wanted to redo that as well, just to like, yeah, just to really push it back, make the head pop a bit more, but also make it darker, make it more real, because I felt like it was too washed out with like bright colors. So basically just going over and adding tones, and that's basically it. You know, after this, the only thing else I can really say is thank you guys for stopping by, and I hope you learned something. I hope you appreciated this. I appreciate you for sticking around, and I'm into doing more of these in the future. So if you guys want me to paint anything, or you know, have any ideas for things that I could do in the future, just let me know. And thanks again. Peace out.